Good morning. It is 7:05 a.m. on Tuesday, January 29th, 2019. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. Countdown my last week here in Korea, for this trip at least, continues. But so I feel like I want to talk about my dinner last night, and I've got some complicated feelings about it. And so let me start by just reiterating something I've talked about a little bit before, which is that by and large, I have enjoyed the food here in Korea. That's not to say that every single meal is fantastic. There are occasionally unusual foods that I have been willing to try and decided weren't for me. But for the most part, I've been pretty satisfied with the food. I don't find it too spicy. I'm generally a fairly adventurous eater, so I'm not grossed out necessarily by things that are more unusual compared to Western cuisine. But last night we went to a seafood place for dinner, and we ordered this seafood stew. And it turned out to be something I had heard of but never encountered before. And we didn't know this when we ordered it. We thought we were just getting a big seafood soup. And like soups are very common here as entrees, fancy soups. And that's what we thought we were ordering. And it's not that that's not what we got, but it was, so this was something I'd heard of before, which is it's in a big pot with a clear glass lid, and then they bring it on a little, burner and cook it at the table. But in order to show how fresh it is, in addition to the crab that you get to see turn colors as it cooks, in addition to the little scallops that you see open up as they cook, it had a live octopus getting cooked on the table in front of us. And I had heard about that. I guess the idea is that it's supposed to show how fresh it is. And on top of that becomes kind of like a novelty, like, ooh, look at that sort of thing is the idea. But, I just... I'm not a vegetarian. I'm not super squeamish about the idea that, I frequently eat what used to be a living thing. And I've eaten octopus before, even though I've tended to feel a little conflicted about that, just because I'm kind of... Octopuses are cool animals, and they're pretty smart, and I find that interesting. And so, just like I would be uncomfortable eating dog or cat, for example, even though a lot of that is just sort of cultural bias, right? But I've eaten octopus before, and I don't think I would have balked at eating it if it was just in the stew. And honestly, I didn't balk at eating it last night. But just that practice of bringing out a bowl with a live octopus in it, turning on the heat, and boiling it to death in the stew just feels unnecessary, and I didn't like it. And again, I'll say, I ate the stew, and I ate pieces of the octopus, because once the cooking was done, they came in with scissors and cut up all of the different stuff that was in there. Because when it's initially presented, you see everything is arrayed and displayed and everything, but it wouldn't be very easy to eat. And with the full crab and the scallops and with the shells on and everything, so they come in and they chop everything up to make it more easy to consume as a stew. And so I ate some, but just as a practice, I've just had a hard time letting it go, just this idea of having it get cooked alive in front of us is not appealing. And, like, I don't want to make a big deal about it. There's cultural differences, and I don't think that this is a great evil in the scale of history, but sure didn't enjoy that part of it. I mean, other pieces of the stew cooking in front of us were kind of cool. And, like, I like lobster. Lobster, gets frequently put in the boiling water while it's alive. But I feel like there's a difference between that, like keeping something fresh until the moment comes and then doing, cooking it promptly, versus the idea of slowly heating it up on the table with the lid designed to let you watch. There's one thing of recognizing a practical necessity and the other of making it entertainment. I don't know. Anyway, so mixed feelings about dinner last night. I mean, the soup was good otherwise. And certainly encountering a cultural tradition different than what I'm used to, I think is a valuable experience. But I'm going to go ahead and go on the record of saying not a fan of this one. Anyway, I'll leave it there, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.